All right, we're back to chisel plowing. Hopefully by Wednesday I'm pretty much done. I got 70 acres left, right? 40, no, 60 acres left. Yeah. 40 here, a 9 and an 11. Oh, no, 14. It's like 65 acres left. So yeah, and then this darn thing, went to drive it over here yesterday, flicked the lights on, oops, and the two lights at the top of the cab and this front fender light wouldn't come on, so that's a new development. They were all working when I was chiseling last week. So that's neat, but you'll have that. This one's always been a little goofy. Sometimes you go to turn it on, it wouldn't turn on. You drive for 30 minutes or so, and all of a sudden it popped. The two up top, that's a new one. Yep, still nothing. Doesn't make a lick of sense. But between the one that I do have working and the two up here on the chin, it's still plenty enough to work with them LEDs. So she'll just look kind of goofy and lopsided in the dark. Gotta move my cousin's shooting targets out of the way. But so yeah, when I get a chance I'll have to probably just pull new wires to all them lights in the front and be done with it. I should have done it a long time ago, and they always worked, so I never really messed with it. But now I guess it's telling me that it wants done. It's just weird how all it did was sit for what, 2 days, and they just decided to stop working for no reason at all, just sitting there. So anyhow, hopefully get the front 20 done tonight, the back 20 done tomorrow night, and then those other two fields, actually, depending on how late, I'll probably get started. I don't know, see how late I want to work. I'd like to be in bed before midnight, but we'll see. I worked it at an angle going this way, so now we're going to work at an angle going that way. old girl, we're hoofing it pretty good tonight. I don't think I quite made 30 acres, but I gotta be knocking on it pretty hard. But it's about 11:15. I gotta get home and close up the chicken coop, and the big thing is I gotta find some food because my stomach's hurting like hell right now. 10.5, almost 11 hours in between meals. That just don't work for me. I need some sustenance. So, but front field's done. Backfield, I'm all the way over to my cousin's deer stand out in the back, which is pretty much exactly halfway across. So, but working at an angle, I'm still probably not quite half, but a fair bit more done than what I thought I was gonna get done. So hopefully tomorrow we'll finish up here in the daylight so I can get this back to Mom and Dad's to fuel it up and check it over, and then go from there. So we will we'll catch you guys tomorrow. It was hard to tell just how much I'd got done in the dark. I knew I was up to the waterway and over my cousin's deer stand, but I got a pretty decent chunk of this field done last night. So it's been sitting there, are you? It's been quite the interesting day as far as temperatures go. It started off like upper 70s this morning, like right out of the gate. Dump a little, about half a quart in there, and then about 2 hours ago temperature started dropping like a rock, and now we're down to 60. It's like, geez, kind of need a sweatshirt now. But hopefully a couple hours we'll be done here. 2.5 hours. I'm getting going a little earlier today because we got off work early because it was so windy. Well, I got off work on closer to on time, but it was so freaking windy today, we had to shut down spreading about 1:32 o'clock because I just can't get a decent spread pattern out of it. It obviously wasn't doing any spraying today, so. But let me top this off and then we'll get rolling. Also, you probably noticed that for some reason all my headlights started working again last night randomly. I have a hard time believing it's a ground issue because all four of these front lights are on the same, they all have their own ground. I could believe if they all shared a ground, it could be a ground issue. But what are the odds that all three lights have a bad ground all at the same time? that field's done. The ground's getting hard enough. There were spots back there. Friggin' plywood was starting to ride up out of the ground. So there's a few spots I went over twice. Good times. So anyhow, gotta go get some fuel and have Dad, before it gets dark, have Dad run me back and get my truck so that I'm not holding him up tonight, and then go try to get started on another one. Okay, we're gonna start on this guy tonight. I don't know if I'll get it finished. I don't know how late I'm gonna stay out here, but I figure I'd work on this one since there's not really any houses around. I don't really got to worry about disturbing the neighbors. My last field, or the field that we're gonna go to tomorrow, which I'll probably go there first if I don't get done here tonight. There's houses around that one, so I don't want to. Try your best not to disturb the neighbors too much. There's times when you can't avoid it, but I try to when I can, just to be courteous. Notice it's awful dark up here in front of me, and I got it no worky. So I got a little bit done back here. I got the two small fields done, and I got part of the front big field done. But without these four front work lights, and the chin lights, they kind of tell you where you're at, but not nearly good enough. So I am going to head back to Mom and Dad's and take a peek under that dash and see if it's loose wires, or if I blew a fuse, or if I need to get a switch. And we will continue this escapade tomorrow, and one way or the other, as long as it's not raining, because we still got a chance tomorrow, we'll get finished up. Alright, I got the lights working again. After I was able to crawl under there and see how it's wired, it makes sense as to why it was doing what it was doing. That light itself is on one wire, and I'm guessing if this thing was still wired up like it was from the factory, there would be others, or that whole side maybe, or whatever. And then that light and the two up top are on one wire. And apparently that I never have changed that switch. Looking at the back of it, it must be original. And the terminals on the back are getting a little loose. So I was able to take and bend them a little bit and get some tension on the rivets, and it appears we're working. So I guess tomorrow I'll call Maybaugh and see if I can catch the order for my 270 parts and have them throw a switch in there. And when I get a chance, I have to swap that switch out with something new. But easy enough. So that's a quick job. So anyhow, it's late enough. I'm not going to bother heading back to the field. It's almost 10 o'clock now, so we will catch you guys tomorrow to get finished up. And if I go to turn the lights on tomorrow and they don't work, at least I know I can crawl up under my phone and wiggle them around and get them working again. So we'll get her. Okay. Oops. That thing up off the lot. As long as everything goes well. Other than that little triangle I had to leave over by Mom and Dad's for where my friends are planning on building that barn, that I'll have to go back and pick up once they figure out what's going on with the dirt work. Should be done chisel plowing tonight, ideally. I got a couple hours here, go back, probably got 30, 45 minutes over where we were last night, and we'll be able to jump off this topic. So that would be the ideal situation anyhow. So well, you're an idiot. I don't know why this day and age everybody's in such an all-fired friggin' hurry. Drive like a bunch of morons, like they're more important than everybody else. Is done. It was a little wetter than I thought it'd be. I was broke open. A couple weeks of drying gonna do it some good. So now go over that field that I was at last night, finish up that 3.5, 4 acres, whatever's left over there, and call it a night. We got rain coming. Hopefully it shows up. It would be nice if it did. Give everybody a break. But anyhow. Boys and girls, that completes chisel plowing. At least the main round of it. I'll have to go back and clean up whatever I need to clean up when the time comes. But for now, we can focus on the next step, which is getting some seed in the ground. So if it rains tomorrow, take advantage of that and finish getting everything else ready. Still gotta get parts so I can finish up that cable for the seed wagon and change the oil in the pump on the nurse tank and the soil finisher, and then we're good to go. Hopefully I ordered the light switch for that thing today, and my parts for the 270 hadn't shipped yet. Hopefully maybe they come my way tomorrow and I'll see them Friday. Hopefully I'd like to get them before the weekend. That way I can take this weekend to hopefully get Eleanor all back together and functional, but time will tell. So if nothing else, we throw the finisher on the back of the old Silver Bullet here to get started and bring the 270 out later when we get time. But oh crap, 11 o'clock, it's time to go home and go to bed. So that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.